much in between, things we've never seen. You're a mirage that my mind can't see through. Are you here with me? One day we can see. And all my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. But I know that time makes ways. And all my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. But I know that time makes ways. Yeah, I know that time makes ways. All my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. But I know that time makes ways. And will my life be there one day? All I know is frozen waves, but I'm hoping time makes ways. I'm holding on to the image of you, live from far away, information highway. You're a mirage that my mind will cling to. Though you're far away, we can make a way. All my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. Yeah, I know that time makes ways. For you, we're waiting. Yeah, we're waiting. Just need the patience. Give me the patience.
Tries to hold on to the bottom. Here comes Giuseppe. They make attack. They touch once, twice, 3 times.
Oh, trouble! Oh, no, Rocky into the wall. Big crash front straightaway. Huge crash coming into the triangle. No, Rocky up and into the air. They're beating and banging. Burn on the bottom. Cosman up top. Cosman, I think. No. Briar by 1/1000th of a second. Joseph, no! At the line, Thunhorse pulls the win out at the stripe. Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas. Get your foot in. He got it. He's got it. He's got it. The canvas is going to win.
Tonight, the WINSTEL Gen 4 Challenge and the chase for the WINSTEL Cup makes its way to iRacing's virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway for the only track with a second date on the schedule. Tonight, it's the second half of the fall schedule getting underway here on FEF.GG. Good evening, everyone. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Derek Watson with our producer, Zach Johnson. Lots to go through tonight, but the drivers are already getting set for what should be an action-packed night from Atlanta. let's take a look at how your starting lineup will begin here in Atlanta. Starting the pole for tonight's action, the points leader, Zach Campbell, he qualified in front of Alex Kolinix in the qualifying order. Kolinix, meanwhile, tied with Christian Budd in time, but the tiebreaker went to the 45. Jose Solis Jr. second in the points, in fourth in qualifying. Dylan Alt continues his progression in this series from fifth, with Dylan Roberts in the sixth spot. Rounding out your top six grouping, Derek.
That's right. Then in P7, we have Ryan Doucette on side-by-side with Thomas Lewandowski, Gabriel Mauricio, and Christina Ryan, Sean Peleg and Parker Alexander, and then Abigail Mayday and Emily Howe round out your top 14, Justin.
Tyler Head starts in row 8 alongside Nick Doucette, William Boisvert, along with Brendan McGee amongst the top 9 rows. Rounding out your top 12 rows, Ali Osman, Alex Zier, along with Bill Hall, along with Matt Skipper, James Holzer, the first not to record a time, Ben Hancock. Complete the top 24.
Keep looking on through, Justin. You got TJ Crampton, Brandon Cruz Monsavius, and Ken Huff will round out your field tonight.
That's a look talk to one at your running order tonight. Let's take a look at how the championship is faring out. After a blender of a race at Talladega, which included Zach Campbell not making the start, some of the drop weeks starting to be factored in. As a result, 3 of the top 4 drivers in the point standings took the drop at Talladega. Zach Campbell leads by 15 points over Jose Solis Jr., with James Holzer 30 points back. He picked up 3 positions with his run at Dega. Nicholas Doucette also took the drop, 39 back. Christian Budd, Gabriel Mauricio, Dylan Roberts all separated by 70 points amongst the top 7. Those looking to gain points, Ryan Doucette, Brandon McKissick, and Ali Osman. As we get all set to go, remember the last time, Derek, we went here, it went green to checkered. Your keys to victory for the second time here in Atlanta.
I think the keys to victory tonight, Justin, is going to be 1, tire management, making sure you have the tires in case we do go green again, and 2, managing risk versus reward. As the tensions are up, we're in the middle of the chase. I suspect we'll race a little bit more aggressive than we did in the spring, so we'll see if we can actually stay green here and who's willing to be involved in everything if it happens.
Just about all set to go for 50 laps from Atlanta Motor Speedway. On this sunny day, we're underway from Hotlanta. Out of turn 4 for the first time, Zach Campbell leads the first lap of 50. Christian Budd jumping up the second off the launch. The top line did not get the greatest of runs to begin this race. Already a majority of the field stagnating out though, trying to find some clean air. And one of the major things, remember, when it came to this race last time, Derek, strategy, and more strategy. This race seen plenty of it. A couple drivers nearly went to halfway on fuel mileage, remember last time.
Yeah, Justin, that strategy does matter a lot. Obviously, we have the reduced fuel tanks here in the WINSTEL Gen 4 challenge, so when you pit will matter. It'll matter in how long you need to spend on pit road getting gas. It'll matter in, who you come out with. Do you come out in a clean pit road, a busy pit road? Strategy matters a lot here. When are you willing to push? Are you willing to save tires? There's lots of questions here to ask yourself here in the opening laps of a 50-lap race.
Solis Jr. trying to utilize a bit of the second line, nearly going up to the wall, up 1 spot so far in the opening stages of this race. Keep in mind, this track fairly hot, 134 degrees Fahrenheit. When we went here before, the track temperatures were around 140. The air temp 90 degrees Fahrenheit for this run here today. So in turn, how do you make sure you maintain these tires with how difficult it can be to pass in the midst of a pack, for example, right here?
Well, Justin, I think the thing to talk about is when you talk about these hot tracks, what you're talking about is these cars are going to be super slick, going to be super loose, and it is super easy to overdrive the car to get it loose. And when you do that and that car begins to squeal and it begins to, the tires squeal and you lose the back end of the car, it's super easy to burn off your tires here. So you have to be gentle in the corners. Minimal input on the wheel is important as a driver if you can manage that. It's really hard for some drivers to race on a hot racetrack. I'm not a fan of it, so it's really hard to do.
Taking a look towards the midst of the pack, Ali Osman amongst those. We expect to try and stretch it once more. Amongst those trying to cut forward in the pack, TJ Crampton, following the tire tracks of James Holzer. They're both up 4 spots so far. By utilizing the bottom, remember, they were among some of the drivers who did not set qualifying times in this race.
Yeah, we'll see if those guys can make it through and get, in the field, or if maybe they wanted to be in the back in case there's a couple wrecks that happen here. This is not a super speedway. This is very different than Talladega, but wrecks here tend to be very messy when they happen, especially here in the dogleg. It's very hard to avoid them if they happen here, Justin.
Especially with the potential of trouble down the back straightaway as the tires wear. I have to keep an eye on that, absolutely. Keep an eye on Nicholas Doucette. He's up 5 spots already. Qualifying to the back in this one, not the best of runs for somebody who was a contender back in the spring here in this race.
Yeah, there's a lot of strong contenders in this race. And of course, right now, as a whole, Justin, what we're seeing is the cream rising to the top. And what I mean by that is, chase drivers at the front of the field, including Zach Campbell, by the way, who continues to tell us in interviews, Justin, how he is returning to oval. Of course, Zach is involved in other Pro Series and iRacing on the road side, but he says, I'm just returning to oval, but he looks like he's doing more than just returning, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. With the speed he showcased, might be someone to keep an eye on as a whole on the platform in 2023. Keeping it on Doucette. He nearly loops it around a little bit on the bottom. Holding on in front of Parker Alexander and Emily Howe in the train. Amongst those utilizing the bottom is Emily Howe. Keep in mind, this track has the potential of trouble right there for that reason off of turn 2 today.
Yeah, that's probably the most difficult part of this track configuration, in my opinion, Justin's turn 2. And it's got to do, I believe, with the banking and the transition as they happen. And it's super easy to snap your car around. We saw multiple drivers do it in practice, in fact.
Absolutely. We'll have to see how these drivers handle things as the race goes on. Now, let's take a look towards the front, because Colonix is amongst those trying to battle with the car. Let's discuss how those inputs can come into play. We discussed already the loose conditions. Colonix might be the best example of that, Derek.
So we can kind of get a look here. Well, from this camera, it's hard to see his wheel, but watch his wheel here as you see him drive. The more he's fighting the wheel means the more he's fighting the car, probably the looser it is. Actually, as we saw them go out of 4 here, and let's watch it into 1. Not a whole lot of movement in that wheel, Justin.
Well, don't forget some of the top drivers try and minimize the inputs, remember, at tracks like Atlanta. Logan Clampett, for example, from the NASCAR Coco iRacing series, very similar to that.
Yeah, and so if this was a loose race car, or if he thought he was having problems in a loose race car, what you would typically see is him fighting that wheel a lot more, sawing it back and forth, possibly, Justin. Looks like Alex so far. Alex is pretty comfortable in this race car there in that Wells Fargo machine.
Petty Enterprises machine still holding on to the top 5 spots. Up in front of him, Campbell still leading by about 3 car lengths over Christian Budd. Here comes Dylan Oak, though, to join the party. An NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver looking to the inside in the battle for 4th.
Oh, we got trouble. That's the 2 car spinning around. There's the caution.
Parker Alexander goes around for the first caution of the race. So the first pit stops of the race will happen under yellow this time at Atlanta. And we will not go fully green like the last date back in the spring here at this facility. Might have been turn 2 that got him right there, as the field comes to catch the iRacing pace car.
Oh, look at that. That's a loose race car. You see the back end higher than the front end. That's the idea. He's loose, and then he just got slowed up, and I think he just inevitably got hit there. There was nowhere for them to go behind him, Justin.
Yeah, he got jacked up on the checkup, it looked like. It's hard to keep the car maintained when you have the back tires picked up there on the slide up.
Oh, that's a scary ride. I think that's that Emily Howe in the Napa there machine who made contact.
Yeah.
So what happens here, and we'll talk about it before actually pit road's open. Let's do that first, and then we'll talk about the loose feeling there. Everyone down pit road, Justin.
This to be expected. That makes it a one-stopper from here from everybody else. We'll have to see, though, if anybody takes 2 tires. Remember, that has been a major track position gainer throughout the season. No indications yet at Atlanta. Yes, there is. Nicholas Doucette takes 2 tires. Monsivice misses his pit stall. Alex Kolinix also takes 2, so a new race leader, Alex Kolinix, Nicholas Doucette 2 tires. Everybody else taking 4 tires and fuel.
I am super curious about that call, Justin. I was thinking in my head, would someone do it? But when you already got a hot racetrack and you've already got, the potential for a loose race car, 2 tires is not going to help that situation. It's not. Yeah, I'm curious how they're gonna fare there with those 2 tires.
You have to think Monsivice going to come back in here. The tire spin, remember, extremely huge with old tires at this racetrack with the hot temperatures. And there's the indication. There goes Kolinix up to the race lead. So 2 drivers on 2 tires up at the front, everybody else on 4. You want to discuss a bit of those conditions. Let's take a look at that, and here's the viewpoint from Emily Howe in that structure.
Take a look here and see what's going to happen. This is actually from, there we go, there's Emily Howe.
There's the bobble. And right there is where the jackup happens.
Nowhere to go for Emily Howe. That's not Emily's fault. Like, what are you supposed to do there? So looking at, if we can get an in-car view one more time from Parker, if possible. If not, that's okay. We can still talk about it. What happens for Parker when that happens, Justin, depending upon their setup, is 2 things will happen. You'll feel loose in the racing wheel, and possibly your pedals will start to vibrate. It's a scary feeling when you get a loose race car on a surface. You know what's happening, and there's just nothing you can do about it sometimes.
Can be very challenging and scary, absolutely, at a track like this. But now with 35 to go this time around, we'll see how this restart plays out. Kolinix and Doucette.
They can't jump the start here.
Have to be careful for this restart. Green flag is out, back underway. And a better launch for the outside this time from Nick Doucette. How will this fare into turn 1 as Kolinix has the better line for turn 1 and 2? Kolinix nearly spins it. Zach Campbell all over his back bumper, tries to make it 3 wide. Christian Budd squeezes and gets by on the outside for a moment. Christian Budd the first on 4 tires now. Now it's 3 wide in the battle for second. Nicholas Doucette building a buffer. Budd and Campbell trying to zip around Kolinix. Alt and so is Junior trying to join the party on the outside lines as the 45 drops back.
Justin, if you Doucette, you hope that they stay 3 wide for a few more laps here, because all that does is slow all of them up and gives Doucette a lead. But they've got it figured out here, and now they'll start to run him down.
So Kolinix dropping like a stone as the battle for the race lead is on in front with the other driver on 2 tires. Nicholas Doucette losing the lead to Christian Budd. Budd to the race lead in a long while. His first time in the lead in a long bit, to say the least, in the 17. What's been an up and down summer and fall for a driver who dominated back in the spring and was one of the contenders here.
You know, Justin, when that happens, it's about confidence. It's about your mentality of racing. You know, with even in a league, when you have those problems, bringing your confidence back and feeling better about your racing, it's hard to do. So leading a lap like this, leading 2 laps or leading a lot of laps like this, if he does, that'll do wonders for him probably for the rest of the season, to know that he can still do it. It's really easy to get frustrated and to push too hard because you remember where you were before that you can't get back to.
On board with Mauricio, the major point when it comes to Budd's situation, The last time he's led multiple laps, July the 24th, should say, back at Indianapolis. Ryan Doucette, the winner from the spring, starting to make his strides through the pack now. Remember, Ryan Doucette needs points, Derek. This is huge for his chase bid as he slides for third.
Yeah, definitely needs points after that crazy ending at Talladega last week, Justin, where we thought that both Doucettes, I believe, were going to score well in points. And, of course, the last lap happened, as it always does, and it changed lots of things. But, I mean, the points, for both those guys are important. So we'll have to see if maybe they can stay up front and, do what they can, maybe lead a lap, if possible, to get those points.
Dropping back a bit as now Christina Ryan amongst those battling, trying to get around the 24. Mauricio doing so. Howe on the bottom, a bit of a squeeze though. James Holzer trying to also take advantage and take it 3 wide with the 24 up top and the 55 in the middle. And nobody giving brakes. Howe turns across the front nose of Doucette. Nicholas Doucette loops in as the caution flag comes out. TJ Crampton goes to the grass. Lavik Zaire also dodges in the grass, and we're under caution. You can see that happening. Everybody was trying to zip by the drivers on 2 tires, and that's how close the game got off of turn 4 there.
Wow, what wreck avoidance by the back of the field there, getting around Doucette. I mean, you have a car spinning in that dogleg. That dogleg is not easy to get around under green sometimes for some drivers, Justin. And they pulled that off. Good job to them.
Let's take a look at the replay. Remember the 3 wide with Holzer and Howe, with Doucette on the top. Watch the corner exit, Derek. Remember, they're trying to get by quick on the 4 tires compared to the 2.
Emily washes up and just gets in front of Doucette and gets spun, and then Doucette loses it afterwards. There's actually 2 different spins here. I was watching the Doucette spin, and I think you were watching the Howe spin when it happened live.
Seen both cars spin around, absolutely.
I think Howe gets a small nudge or door contact with the car on the bottom, and then it comes up. But look at this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably 5 or 6 cars all got around him while he was doing the 360. By the way, good job to him. He did a full 360 and grabbed a gear, Justin.
Yeah, but to keep it going, Emily Howe has claimed the caution. So Howe with an EOL and pit stops this time. So with the importance of tires, we're seeing that come into play. There are no tire set limits for this race tonight. Now we may see strategy mix things out in this one. Out of the race on a pit road, fair route. Remember, 2 drivers took 2 tires last time, a shorter run this time.
Yeah, that'd be the only... Go, sorry, Justin.
Was about to say the first on 2 tires is, how about the first top 5 for the most part out of the pit lane? Bud, Campbell, Doucette, Soas Jr., top 4 on track, top 4 out on 2 tires, with TJ Crampton the only other one taking the call.
I started to cut you out there, Justin. I was going to say, that'd be the only reason I'd think about 2 tires here. We only did probably 5, 6, 7 laps on those tires, so maybe 2 tires is the right call. But you also have to look at what happened to the guys who did it last time, the drivers who did it last time, and wonder if you want to put yourself in that position at this point in the race. What if we don't go, what if we do go green the rest of the way? Where would you find yourself?
Fuel mileage race may break out here. We'll have to see. More coverage right after this. Coming up to the halfway point for the WINSTEL Gen 4 Challenge from Atlanta. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Zach Campbell looks to take the race lead away from Christian Budd. So is Junior and Ryan Doucette also in the conversation, along with Dylan Roberts. Roberts the first on 4 tires. Campbell trying to utilize the bottom to get around Christian Budd. Budd with the better pull down the back straightaway, however. A difficult fight for Campbell to get around the 17.
We saw one car just under the white line there, Justin. Not sure who that was. Could have been really awful if that's that white and green car. They're falling back really hard.
Oh, that's Crampton. Crampton, who took 2 tires, is nearly spinning the car out. Crampton, holding on to the bottom of the racetrack, has now dropped back to 19th. He's been running in the teens for much of this race. No caution, we stay green. Up towards the front. Things have settled down, but indeed, there's the risk of 2 tires if you're not used to the comfort. Yeah,
that's I was looking all around for a second, Justin. There's no black flags. I was like, man, what's going on? But that was just a comfort issue apparently with TJ. That's unfortunate. That just kills the use of that strategy right there.
The 4 others who took that strategy, they're 1, 2, 3, 4 on the racetrack. Bud still holding on, utilizing the bottom along with Campbell. So is Junior, preferring the middle line in 3 and 4. Ryan Doucette changing up his line as well. Now it's the interesting point though. Can these drivers make it to the end on gas? This race had a fuel mileage total of about 23 laps under green last time they visited this circuit.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a question of strategy, which was your key tonight to talk about, Justin, was strategy in these races and what to do about it. You know, the bigger strategy is, I think these guys are hoping for another caution and that the track position will pay off on pit road. If this thing stays green to the end, I don't think this 2 tires will work out as far as winning the race. I'm curious to see what happens here.
Campbell trying to make things work on the inside, meanwhile. Slides up. But Bud again has the run. This time, no place to slide up on the outside. So is Junior able to get to the quarter panel for the entry to turn 3. And Campbell's been trying. But the problem has been getting clear, it seems, out of turn 2. As here comes Doucette to join the party.
And now we're going to see the 17 move to the bottom lane. The lane you race in also has some effect, Justin, on the rest of the race. It's can be comfort, how the car is handling, also how much tires you're wearing. Typically, the higher lane, for the most part, you're not going to wear as much tire because there's less wheel inputs. But a lot goes in here. So you see here the Budweiser car trying to stay in here. The draft is somewhat important here, Justin.
Some pull absolutely down some of the straightaways. Campbell this time switching things up to the high side. You're falling on board with Dylan Roberts. Remember, Roberts the first on 4. James Holzer also on 4 tires, leads the second pack just behind him. Oh, and some contact with the wall with So is Junior to the quarter panel, slows him up a bit.
The 11 definitely delivered some paint to that wall there, because you saw the sparks flying off the side of that car, Justin.
I'm going to keep it going, though, in a side-by-side battle. Keep in mind, the first driver who topped off before this restart is back in 18th, Ben Hancock. Also topping off, Thomas Lewandowski, Lavik Zaire, Hayden Repas, Bill Hall. Everybody else is tight on the gas. These drivers running with 0.8 of a second to fall off so far this run, coming to 16 to go.
Let me propose one more question to you, Justin. If we know gas is tight, that means the drivers know gas is tight. Do you want to be leading this race? Is it really an advantage right now for Bud to be leading this race?
Decent question, absolutely. How would you try and save the gas with these cars?
Obviously you're going to be reading your black boxes every lap to see where you stand, but you got to stay behind another driver. That little minimal bit of draft can really help here, because that guy up front, he's getting no draft. He's going to burn the most gas. So you're lifting just a smidge in the corners, or you are doing something, but you might be okay being a second, third, fourth. Like where the 8 car is right now, they've had no, they've made no moves, I'll say it that way, to pass. I'm wondering if that's strategy or if that's just, where they are. But they'll probably have a little bit more gas here than the leader will.
Seeing Doucette make one pass. Zach Campbell's coming in. Zach Campbell has just indicated he plans to pit this time by. So it looks like drivers are coming in not expecting to make it. So now the strategy really layers in. First green flag pit stops. A slide in, that time for Ryan Doucette. That may have been close for the speed limit as several of the leaders coming in this time. Christian Bunn next time.
So what I would want to think, Justin, let me confirm this in a pit stop, but maybe they're thinking about tires as well, maybe 2 tires again?
We'll have to see how long they stay in the box. Already the motion about 9-10 seconds. Yeah, Sean Pellick takes 2. Matt Skipper taking 2. So is Junior taking 2. 2 tires for Zach Campbell. 4 tires for Ryan Doucette. He's the only one that sequence who takes 4. Here comes the next pit party.
So to explain that a little further to watching pit road, Justin, what we're talking about is it takes so long to put gas in the car depending upon how much you need. So the reason why you pit early is so that you can justify the time of putting tires on with how much gas you need to get to the end of this race, basically.
Absolutely. By the way, for those tuning in for coverage of the Bar Visuals FDF Cup Series, don't worry, that is on deck. At the conclusion of this race as Colin spins it to the pit cone.
That'll be a black flag for Colin, Justin.
Unsafe pit entry, potentially for the 45. We stay green because that was on the apron. That may be the first pit penalty of this entire race. Coming to 11 to go for the race leaders. Dylan Alt, the first of those staying out on the racetrack. And now it gets interesting. Who's been saving? And can the drivers who haven't been saving find a way to make it to the end? Alt in first, Crampton in second, Hancock in head, the top 4.
Well,
but the caution is out. It's a crash into pit road. And it's the 66 of Chris Hancock.
Wow. Big implications here, Justin. We'll talk about in a second. Let's see what happened on pit road first. But there's a lot that's going to happen here.
This was not a sole car incident. Watch this out of 3 and 4 and wait for the 24.
Oh, that's Doucette.
Championship implications, a blown motor for Nicholas Doucette, one of the championship contenders in the chase. 4th in the standings entering tonight.
What happens here? Is it a little loose? I can't tell. Was he going to pit and he came down in late? I don't understand what happened there. Obviously they made contact, Justin, but I don't understand the logic that caused those 2 cars to come together.
Here's William Boisford's view.
It looks like he decided the last second to pit and just wasn't aware the 24 is below him.
From the top of the track, Derek?
I don't know, but why else would he need to cut down like that? Doesn't make sense. You're right, and I get that, but I don't know what happened there. By the way, I want to correct what I said. I do not see, for the record, that the 45 was given a black flag for that pit road spin. So maybe he got away with it.
Might have indeed, but it looks like a pit party breaking out. But this now gets interesting. Alt the first to come in. Most of the field had gotten their laps back prior to the caution, but those who did not, it seemed, may have included Christina Ryan, Brendan McGee, and a couple others. We'll have to see how the waves fully structure. So that takes the 2 tires out of the equation in most cases, but a few drivers who got a couple laps on their tires do stay out here, Derek, including Campbell, Bud, Solis Jr., and Pellig. Sire and Montsevice have also stayed out for the time being.
Well, those 2 names are interesting because they had not pitted at all. So I was going to say before the yellow happened, Justin, that maybe they're thinking now with the caution coming out that they have now saved enough fuel to get to the end. So, Justin, we have no tires. We have 4 tires. We have 2 tires. We have 2 tires under green, 2 tires under yellow. Justin, this pit strategy is like messier than a ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese at this point. I just don't know what to make of it anymore.
This race indeed having the field flipped upside down a little bit with the time of the caution and who was involved in said caution. It looks like Montsevice comes in, but Lilac Zaire electing to stay out here on 18 lap old tires in the 90.
So let's talk about that for a second, Justin. The biggest fear for other drivers, I think, in this scenario is the restart. When you're on older tires at a hotter track, you're likely to spin the tires. What that means is you're going to throw it in gear, you're going to stomp on the gas on the restart, and you may not have full grip under you, and you'll lose that car, or you'll spin it and you'll have a hesitation, and it'll affect the whole field potentially if this doesn't go well, Justin.
That's the understatement of the day, potentially. To reset how this is, coming now to 7 laps to go, Lilac Zaire is in the race lead. We'll see if she takes a pit road close penalty coming to the 1 to go signal or stays out fully. Then you have the drivers who pit about 4 or 5 laps before the caution. Zach Campbell, Christian Budd, Jose Solis Jr., Sean Pellig, Dylan Roberts, Ryan Doucette. Abigail Mayday pulled out of her strategy a couple laps later. She's up to 8th, a race high. Dylan Alt just came down under the caution. And guess what? TJ Crampton, who nearly looped it around Derek on the 2 tires previously, is up to 10th.
Yeah, so lots of implications here in the race. Lots of implication in the points, potentially, as we stand out here, Justin. Lots of movement by drivers trying to make up points, and it's really interesting here. We looked at the points in the beginning of the race. You're going to see some wave arounds here, some people getting a lap back here at 1 to go. We looked at the points, and who was where at the beginning of the broadcast. We saw that Zach Campbell had that 15-point lead over Solis, and so on and so forth. So some drivers now are going to begin to make choices for the rest of the season based upon, I need points, not what's smart, not what's safe, not what might let you have a clean run of the, or not a clean run, but an easy run of the rest of the race. But what's the potential? What's the risk versus reward for this?
Lilac Zaire elects to play the Uno card, the one that causes chaos. Lilac Zaire stays out on what's coming to 20 lap old tires, and will be control coming to the restart. Campbell outside. Coming to 6 laps to go. A bold play by Zaire. We'll have to see how this works out. The iRacing pace car drops off. 6 laps to go from Atlanta. Green flag back underway. And there's the tire spin. 3 wide already entering turn 1. Zaire to the bottom. Pellick boxed in. Budd and Solis Jr. trying to get away as Campbell first to clear. That strategy didn't work out quickly for the 90. Trouble down the back straightaway. A playoff driver in the chase. It's Ali Osman. Osman drops back to 26. We stay green. Holzer trying to get out from underneath Zaire. Now, Boisberg gets turned by one of the chase drivers. He gets hooked by Mauricio for the caution.
I was gonna say, this was the only thing I could think that they were hoping for by staying out, was a caution comes out quickly, you maintain your track position. Maybe the rest of the drivers cycled their tires, but yeah, I mean, that didn't work out. You saw Zaire fall back quickly through the field. In that case, Justin.
So 2 different incidents. This is how things broke down for Ali Osman. He was towards the back, then went to the very back. Not too bad.
Was there a checkup in front of him? How do you... Wow. Here's the onboard view.
Aiden Aripas, the car he hit.
I have no words for that, actually. I don't... Usually I have an explanation for what may have happened, but there had to have been a checkup they were lifting for, I'm guessing, because... Wow.
This is the second incident. Watch the corner exit right there. Weisberg getting turned around with the 31 poking a bit underneath, coming out of 4.
You know, this is an easy spot for this to happen, Justin, through this dog leg. It's really tricky because of the shape of it for a driver to get up under someone or a driver to drift up too far and open the door. And it's hard to manage that. Once you open the door, your instinct is to close that door and get back down there. But oftentimes, by the time you realize it, it's too late.
Well, at this point, it looks like we will reach the point of a trigger for a 2-lap shootout. Remember, in WINSTEL competition, no cautions once the point of no return is triggered, which just got its confirmation over the radio, meaning the race will end directly to the checkered. Simple as that. No cautions to freeze the field if there's an incident during the first lap of that respective green-white checkered sequence. Campbell, Budd, Solis Jr., Roberts, Pellig, the top 5, all of them on 2 tires, remember. Ryan Doucette, the first one on 4 tires from the previous pit stop window under green. Who do you think's got this, Derek, is the big question, because remember, the implications could be huge. You have Campbell, who's been quick, Budd looking for his first victory in a long while. Who do you got?
Man, this is actually harder to call than Talladega, Justin, because this isn't about momentum. This is about chaos. This is about I don't know. Like, I'm more intrigued by the playoff drivers who are in the middle of the field at this point, or the chase drivers, pardon me, in the middle of the field, because they can make up a lot of space in a format like this when there's no caution at the point of no return. I'm most intrigued, I think, by not even a chase driver, just as in general. I'm intrigued by the group here: Dylan Alt, Abigail Mayday, Tyler Head, TJ Crampton, Holzer, and Lewandowski. That group of like 7th through 12th, I think they could benefit the most from contact up front if they can get around it. I think they're in the best seats, I think.
See how this all breaks down. A quick check on that mark for Budd. How long has it been a while when I mean wins? How about no wins? In fact, he's the highest driver in the points without a single victory this year. He's been close a couple times. Could this be the night? Or that statistic of landing a long while, how about the whole season for a win, turns into that? But remember, you have Solis Jr. with 3 victories up front, Zach Campbell with 4 victories, Dylan Roberts up there has a victory from early in the season. Go many directions, absolutely, as we get ready for the restart in the next few moments. Of note, the drivers who topped off and or went to the back of this pit stop sequence: Zaire, Skipper, McGee, Osman, Reepes, along with Kolonix taking the lucky dog, Bill Hall. Also has topped off a couple times, is the last driver on the lead lap. For those tuning in for coverage of the Bar Visuals FDF Cup Series from the Charlotte Roval, stick around. That will be coming up after the conclusion of this race in just a few moments.
Just want to talk real quick. Here's our 1 to go for Zach Campbell, who's leading the points and is trying to secure that point lead or grow on it. This is the most important restart right now for Zach Campbell, because a good restart here means you get out in front of the field, you probably get ahead of any calamity that may happen. You have Jose Solis right behind you, who's 15 points back on points. This is an important restart. We're going to go on the green flag, as race control is reminding them. But this is a tense moment for Zach Campbell right now.
Campbell's already pinching Christian Budd, coming through the back straightaway through 3 and 4. Will they come to blows when the green flag flies? 2 laps to decide it for the WINSTEL Gen 4 Challenge from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Green flag up from Barney, 2 laps to go. A great restart from Zach Campbell, a bad one from Christian Budd.
Oh, they're 4 wide.
That was towards the back with some of the playoff and chase drivers. That is Holzer trying to make it through the pack. Side by side for the race lead down the back straightaway. Campbell top, Budd down to the inside. Roberts in the popcorn seat as they make their way to 3 and 4. Oh, and Bud gets tight. Campbell to the lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag, this time by.
What a save. I know we're watching the lead, but what a save by the 17 car. That's Parker Alexander taking the
Oh, and Holtz are in trouble. Upside down Mauricio as well. Several of the chase drivers getting to the wall. Ryan Doucette also collected. The leaders are racing for the win down the backstretch. Zach Campbell looking to hold on for 2 more corners. Roberts trying to hold off Volt for second. The checkered flag waves. Zach Campbell wins it at Atlanta. Roberts holds on to second. Alt, Pellick, and Solis Jr. the top 5. But several of the chase drivers have major crashes on the final lap here at Atlanta.
That was a big wreck. I can see all the blown motors and all the smoke coming out the backs here as they come around here to complete the lap and get an official scoring spot. We'll have to wait and see what happened here, Justin.
Thomas Lewandowski amongst those trying to cross the line. Campbell getting to put up some smoke of his own. Campbell, a series-leading 5th victory on the campaign. This time at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That was very busy to settle that race, Derek.
It really was busy. I don't think Parker Alexander, we'll have to wait and see. We saw Parker Alexander down to kind of doing the off-roading through the grass. I'm not sure if he had anything to do with the last lap wreck. We'll have to wait and see. But there you go. Those are his burnouts here for winning the MBNA 500. Those are good burnouts by Zach Campbell. You can tell he's done it before.
This is how the calamity started. Holzer and Ryan.
Like that contact up front just checked up the field, which is what we talked about, and then people know where to go. That's someone on the roof there. Who I can't see a number on that car. Justin.
Mauricio. Watch where Ryan goes here. This part of the incident ends up collecting several more drivers down the backstretch a bit.
And you know what? How frustrating for TJ Crampton, a chase driver. I keep saying playoffs, a chase driver. Thought you got it. I got it. I'm clear. In the last second. Nope, I'm not clear.
Meanwhile, Ryan Doucette had to drive on 3 tires around the track. He ends up getting collected in the incident that comes right behind there. And watch how far he has to push this up. He has a broken right front tire and a left front tire, actually.
Here's the crazy thing, Justin. In a way, you might be able to say that by him slowing up for that wreck because of the broken tires, he might have missed the rest of the calamity here and gained, we saw 3 or 4 spots he went by there in that wreck, I think.
He has to ride the wall, actually, to be able to make this checker flag.
He's playing Mario Kart.
We're thinking it's Bristol. Had to hit off all the walls, but that got him 18th.
I'd like if we could real quick to see the Parker Alexander off-roading. I don't know if we're going to, but here's the results, Justin. Go ahead.
Let's take a look at the unofficial race results after calamity strikes at Atlanta. Zach Campbell leads the most laps and wins the race over Dylan Roberts and Dylan Alt. Sean Pellick, Tyler Head rounds out the top 5. A strong night for someone with a lot of comfortability from Atlanta. Jose Solis Jr., Christian Budd, Emily Howe, Ben Hancock, and Matt Skipper, your top 10.
Looking down at P11, Parker Alexander finished in 11th in the 20 car. Brandon Cruz, Alex Kolinix in 13th. Ali Osman in 14th. Brandon McGee in 15th. Then Hayden Rapus, Lilac Zier, who made that pit stop call we talked about. Ryan Doucette in 18th. Christina Ryan in 19th. And James Holzer rounds out your top 20.
21st tonight goes the direction of Ken Huff, then Thomas Lewandowski, William Boisvert, Abigail Mayday, Bill Hall round out the lead lap drivers. Amongst those who do not finish as part of the calamity, TJ Crampton, Gabriel Mauricio. The DNFs, Chris Hancock and Nicholas Doucette, which triggered Calamity Corner. We have time to discuss things with your race winner, Zach Campbell, now the series leader in victories. Now getting the chance to join us here on FDF.GG. Why don't we talk to him now? Zach, you're now the series leader in victories. This time you had to fight for it. Talk us through that final restart.
Yeah, not too bad. I know I was debating there under caution whether I should take the bottom or the top there, and I asked Bud if I should take the bottom or the top, and you said the bottom, so I took the top, and it ended up being the good decision there at the end.
So basically, you asked him for feedback. He gave you the feedback, and you trusted the gut that he would take the feedback that would help him.
Yeah, he's an honest guy. I think it's a shame what happened there with 2 to go, with him kind of getting all squirrely there. But I think I was pretty settled on taking the top there. On 2 tires, the bottom was really, really tight, and the front end floated as you got down to the corner. So just being able to have that freedom to kind of go somewhere up top rather than being pinched down to the bottom, I think that's what made the difference.
Now with this definitely going to help you in the point standings. Of course, the drop came in last week with Talladega. With this extending the points gap a little bit for the championship. Couple races to go. Your thoughts, though, on the blender that is Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting experience. We'll see how that goes. We'll just kind of take that as it comes to it. Yeah, I mean, the tough part is just that we don't really know what's going to happen there. And, with using the drop last week, we, it's unfortunate, but we can't really make any mistakes. So we'll just go out there and try and have fun, I guess.
Well, congratulations on win number 5 of the season overall. Once you get to focusing on the next one.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully we're talking this time next week.
That's Zach Campbell, your winner from Atlanta Motor Speedway. But on that note, it's time to make our way over to Charlotte Motor Speedway. The FDF Cup Series gets itself rolling around the Charlotte Roval tonight. That coverage getting underway in just a couple moments. Stay tuned. You're watching FDF.GG as we head cup racing from the Roval.